Hey there, welcome back. Now let us start our task with views.py. So I'm currently inside my watchlist underscore app folder and let me remove this one. The first thing I need to do is I need to import my models by which we are going to extract everything. So that means all I have to do is use from and then I need to import my models from watchlist underscore app, and from there I need to import, or I can directly use models, and I need to import movie. The first thing is done. Here I need to create a function. So I'm going to extract everything through my function based view. You can either use class based view, that will work fine. So I'm going to use function based view and I'm going to call this as movie list. So this is going to take a request and here we need to extract everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a query set. That means I'm going to select all the objects that are available with this particular movie and I'm going to use them either one by one or directly create a list out of them. So if I jump back to my database right now, that means my admin panel, we are going to get these two objects. So let me store everything inside my movies. And here I'm going to create my movie object and I'm going to use all. So that means all the objects that are available right now. So currently I have only these two. I'm going to get them in return. Now the thing is, I cannot return them directly. If you know, we have to return them in the form of JSON. And this is my query set object. So if I try to print this right now, so all I have to do is use a print statement. And if I try to print this movie, the first thing is I'm going to get an error because there is no return statement with our function. But let me try to print this one and see my result in my CMD folder. So the first thing I'm going to do is save this one. And I also need to create a link to this particular point, which is my movie underscore list. So what I'm going to do is I need to get into my main watchmate folder. Inside that, let me jump here. And here I need to create a path to connect my URLs with them. This one. So I need to connect both of them. So the first thing is I'm going to import my include. And here I'm going to create a path. I'm going to call it as movie. And here I'm going to include. I just need to include this URLs. So it will be my watch list app, then I need to use URLs. That's it. Once that is done, I just need to jump onto this particular URL. Since here we have directed it, jump here, and here we need to create a complete new path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this, jump here, paste this here, remove this part. And I also don't need this admin one. For now, remove this one. And here I'm going to use list as command. And I need to refer to this with views. So this will be my movie underscore list. So what I'm going to do is from, and here I need to use my app name, which is watchlist underscore app. I'm going to use my views and I'm going to import my movie list. Now once that is done, all I have to do is just give my movie name here, that is my views, and I need to give a preferred name. Here I'm going to call it as name and I'm going to call it as movie list. So that means if I jump onto my main website URL, then all I have to do is jump here, which is movie slash, and then I'm going to get here and I'm going to connect with list slash. So let me jump onto my browser right now and let me copy this one, jump here. Here I'm going to visit movie slash list. Now I'm going to get an error. Definitely, and here you can see I have some syntax error. Let me get back to my VS Code And here we also need to import this one. So all I have to do is, the first thing is remove here. And here I also need to add quotations. That is done. Jump back here, refresh this one again. Okay, now we have the error that we required. So we got the error, but the thing is, we need to understand the response of our print statement, which is this. If you jump here, scroll up a bit, you will see this is our current print statement. So that means in response to our query set, we are going to get two objects right now because we only have two objects, and this is currently in the form of list. If you look right now, so to get all type of values, all I have to do is use dot values. So if you jump onto Django documentation, here if you talk about values for query set, you will understand that it returns a query set again, but that can be used in the form of dictionary if we are using some iterable. So that means if I'm using dot values, and here if I convert this into some iterable, maybe a list, maybe a tuple, we can get the result in the form of dictionary. Now here the major thing is, if you see, I need to do some response, I need to return some response. I cannot send a return in the form of HTTP response, or maybe just sending a response in the form of rendering templates. I need to send a response in the form of JSON, right? So for that I can use JSON response. So all you have to do is use from django.http, and here you can import JSON response. So use JSON response. Now this will help you to return a response in the form of JSON. So the first thing we did is, the first level, to extract everything in the form of query set. Now the second level is, we need to convert that query set into the form of Python dictionary. Now in return, we can send this Python dictionary with JSON response. So all I have to do is use return. I'm going to use JSON response here, and here I need to pass some dictionary, because JSON response will only work with dictionary. So this is my current value that I currently have, and the query set is currently in the form of list. If I try to just comment this line right now and try to print the response of my values, because I know this value is going to return us a query set in the form of dictionary if I use some iterable. So if I jump here, refresh this one again, I'm going to get an error, but I will get a print statement. If it's not working, use Ctrl C. Okay, now here is the response. Now if you just try to read this one, what I did is, I get a response in the form of query set, but this is in dictionary right now. So this is my object 1 and this is my object 2. So that means I'm going to get a response in dictionary if I'm going to use this values. And if I convert this into some iterable as mentioned in the documentation, when used in an iterable, I can use this in the form of dictionary. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to convert this in the form of list. Now that's it. What we can do is, we can send this complete response in the form of a dictionary. Now here, let me first create a data. I'm going to create this variable. Inside this, I'm going to create a key pair. I'm going to call it as movies, and here I'm going to return this list. Now this is a proper dictionary. If you look here, this is a proper dictionary, and then I'm going to send this data as my JSON response. So let me uncomment this line, save this one. This looks fine. Let me get back here, refresh this page. I'm still going to get some error, but let me jump here, do Ctrl+C if I'm getting some error. Okay, it's working fine. Let me zoom it a bit. You can see now I'm going to get an error in the form of dictionaries, which is JSON. Actually, it is not dictionary, it is JSON right now. Now, how to know if the response is in JSON or not? The first major thing is, whenever we use any type of true or false value in our model in Python dictionaries, we usually use true, which is capital T, and our complete value. So if you jump here and check out our JSON response, we have small t. That means while converting here, we have converted this data, which is our dictionary, into JSON response. The second thing is, when we work with JSON, we don't have single quote. That means this quotation mark is always going to be in double format. That means we are going to use double quote. So here if you see, I try to use single quote intentionally, but if you jump here, you can see it's double quote. That means this JSON response is going to convert our Python dictionary into a proper JSON response that can be utilized by our client or maybe our own application in the form of iOS or maybe our Android application. But this was a base idea what we are going to do with this current JSON response. But do you think this is feasible solution to do every time? That means maybe if I want to work with multiple things, maybe I have multiple values, maybe I need to add some validations, or maybe I need to also take response from forms or my application. Every time we need to select every information, convert this into a dictionary first, and then convert this into JSON. This is going to be pretty hard task. Now in the next lecture, let us also try to create an individual response. So currently this is a list which is going to respond all the movies that we have. But in the next lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to add a value, maybe 1, movie/1, which is going to return maybe this first movie, and movie/2, which is going to return the second movie. So we are going to do something like this. I hope you got the idea what we did in this particular lecture. We create a view, function-based view. Inside this, we selected all our data in the form of query set, and then we try to extract everything, converted it into a list, and then created a dictionary and used JSON response to send this dictionary. So the main motive was to convert query set into Python dictionary and then Python dictionary to JSON response. That's the main object for this lecture. I hope this lecture was helpful and you got the basic idea. Make sure you have your URL configured properly to access all the information. Thank you for following. Let us continue this in our next lecture.